Welcome to the last day of the second test match. What a fantastic day of cricket it is going to be, hopefully, and for an Indian cricket fan like us, hopefully it's a positive day, and by the end of the day, we come out victorious for the first time in Edgbaston ever in the history of test cricket.
True. Long day to look forward to. There's already rain forecast, things we'll get into. But chat, what's up? Nice to see some of you already here
On a
on a Sunday.
yeah,
Yeah,
Sunday
it's a good day to
afternoon.
be here. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
good day for Test cricket
yeah.
for the kind of atmosphere that's set up.
Yeah, hi Srikanth, hi Arif, Judge, I know you were here. Hi Lokesh, hi Radhakrishna Upadhyay. What a beautiful name you have. Anyone else? Hi Orange Juice, hi Arif, I already said hi. Yeah, I think it was raining. It is. Asha Bhogli did tweet about how it was raining at the time of his tweet, but there is a forecast that the percentage of rain drops by the day, by
By
the
the
hour
hour.
during the day.
Yeah.
And so that is a positive. If anything, the Indian bowler should be glad that it's raining, that it's overcast. It's
There's
going to be a
be
difficult
conditions
pitch.
to exploit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
conditions to exploit. So, yeah, it will be a very interesting day of Test cricket. If you're joining in for the first time, hit that like. We keep saying this, it just helps us push the stream out to more people before the stream even stops. After that, if you don't want to like, that's absolutely fine.
Oh, like after that also.
And if you guys are joining our stream after a long time or for the first time ever, we do a couple of things for pre match. We will talk about what India needs to do, players to watch out for, things to watch out for in the match, a few technical tidbits, and then we will address the chat. And we will come back post match at 11:30 or depending on what the test match gets over. If you're an Indian fan, you would hope
Hopefully
that,
earlier.
yeah,
Yeah.
much earlier. Hi, Karthik. Morning, boys. Oh, yeah, it is afternoon. It's I am in the phase where I think it's early morning. Hi, Kaustubh. Hi, Vishnu. Any idea of a Chennai event?
Damn,
Yeah,
someone was asking for a Bombay event also
yeah, there are
earlier.
a couple of people asking for a lot of events.
Yeah.
We will do it slowly when we get little more money.
Money, money, money.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
currently we're.
On a tight budget, trying to make ends meet. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll make things happen. I Kostuban if I didn't take your name already. We'll wait for a little more. It's 2:50 already, but we'll wait for a few more minutes and then we'll get into things.
Yeah.
And yeah, on a Sunday afternoon, there's no better place to be than at home watching a test match between India and England. Fifth day of a test match.
100%.
What will be the Indian game plan today, considering the weather? How will the England approach the game? Will they go for the chase? It's a majestic voice. God damn! I hope you're talking about.
Crazy. Boys, we need a Canada event just for Vasu.
Yeah, I think only Vasu will show up for that event.
Hey, Vasu should fly down. I'm sure he does. He
All right, let's get into things because Radhakrishna asked the question. Let's get into things. How do you think the pitch will play out?
All right, so very interestingly, the pitch has been one of the flattest or one of the best batting pitches rather that I've seen that has managed to hold how it has been throughout the 5 days. There are literally no demons. There's very few cracks to play with. The rough is starting to open up, which I would expect by day 5, but nothing crazy out of the rough as well, unless you landed point blank in the center of it. And they are pretty wide, so I don't know how useful it's going to be for the spinners. Expect the pitch to be the same, expect it to still be good for batting. It will be interesting though if the odd ball just stays low like we have seen over the last couple of days. That's one thing to watch out for, which is why it will be important for India also to ball good lines and lengths. Talk about the only other thing in conditions, the extra point to add is the forecast, because there is already rain that is happening right now or will happen till 11 a.m. And from there is a decreasing chance. It would mean that the conditions will remain mostly overcast, and so that should help India get some swing, I hope. The ball is 16 overs old, so I don't know how much longer it's going to do anything, and I hope India doesn't have to wait for the second new ball to make things happen. Yeah, that's mostly on the pitch. It's going to be a belter of a wicket still.
All right, let's talk about what India needs to do. I mean, the simplest of game plans is take wickets, and you need to take wickets. And if you don't take wickets, you're not going to win this match. And I think easier said than done. If so, let's talk about strategies here a little bit. All right, so you of course start off with Akashdeep and Mohammad Siraj. Once again, they've done well. They did well yesterday. They did well in the first innings. They did well in the first innings of the next day morning. Except that is when things started to slip out because we saw a partnership between Harry Brook and Jamie Smith start to form. And I don't think India can afford to slip out. Of course, like Pratham said, the pitch is still a belter off a wicket, so we still might see partnerships. Harry Brook is still out there. Ollie Pope is still out there. And then we have Ben Stokes and Jamie Smith yet to come. So there are batters around. And so the Indian captain especially cannot be in a panic mode the second there are partnerships, or even if the run rate climbs up a little bit and if they're able to score freely. Something the Indian bowlers and the captain did really well in the first innings was plugging the boundaries. So even when the bowlers were bowling straighter to the stumps, they had a deep mid wicket and a deep fine leg, which means even if they were clipping it off their legs, they weren't able to get those boundaries. And even having a sweeper outside the off stump, making sure the boundaries are plugged is important, because we have said this repeatedly. The English batters get a high on boundaries, and the second you club that, I think they will look to play those attacking shots the way Harry Brooks steps out. Even Ollie Pope has a tendency of just poking the ball outside the off stump. He did look very, very fidgety today. I'll be shocked if he gets a big score today, unless he just switches his mind and there's just something about him and his feet today. But I think that is the way to plug the boundaries. But I forgot who said this. But I think one of you also said this, but I think the key important will be, like I emphasized earlier, is to get wickets, and for that you need catching fielders. The English team yesterday, England could afford to not have two slips or three slips, because India was just cruising along and making sure that the target was high up there. The Indian team, however, they are trying to get those wickets, which means we will need catching fielders out there. So I will be very, very disappointed if there is a partnership and if Shubman Gill doesn't still have two, three slips and a gully and catching fielders out there. As much as, like I said, plugging those boundaries might be important, having those deep fielders might be important, because that is one way to counter, not even attack, but like to defend while attacking the English batters. You still need catching fielders. We saw Karun Nair hit a ball through slip and a gully yesterday. We saw KL Rahul hit a ball through slip and a gully. That is because they only had one slip and a gully. And we saw this happen when the Indian bowlers were bowling too, when Harry Brook hit a ball between slip and a gully, and the ball right after that they put two slips in. And I don't think Shubman Gill can afford to do that. I think they'll need to continue to attack. Of course, there are players to watch out for, which we will talk about. But I think the most important factor is Gill, the captain, will be tested today. Gill, the batter, has risen up in the series so far. The best batter by far, something he talked about before the series started. But Gill, the captain, will be really, really tested today. So it will be interesting to see how he goes about his captaincy. Let's go to Finn to win. Players to watch out for.
Players to watch out for, mostly from an Indian perspective. Obviously, Mohammad Siraj, I think he is going to do well, although stats might suggest a different story. I think he's in really good rhythm, and that's something that augurs well for India. Mohammad Siraj and Akash Deep are going to be key today, but I also want to watch out for how Prasidh Krishna goes. We know that in that first innings, he got tonked in his first spell, came back with a slightly better spell, and so I would hope that the Indian team understands that Prasidh Krishna is not someone who can ball the short balls or the bouncers where they should be targeted, or maybe he just doesn't have enough confidence doing that. So it will be important with the kind of strategy that Prasidh Krishna comes in with. I think he's better off bowling. Even back of length is okay, but preferably full so that he can get the batters playing some shots and then try and get wickets. So from that sense, you would want to watch out for Prasidh Krishna. And for the spinners, it will be interesting to see if there is any way for them to use the rough properly, because the rough is fairly outside the off stump. Very likely that those will be deliveries that the England batters are happy to leave. And so it will be important to see if there is anything that can be exploited out of the rough, if there are any strategies around possibly a negative line or any of that coming into the picture.
All right, so that's Finn to win. Things to watch out for will be conditions, of course, how much is going to rain, what the weather forecast is like, what the
Um,
overhead conditions are like, and if the rough has been roughened up.
and how many overs we might lose if there is rain.
I think one of you guys said like it's a bad idea to have deep fielders. I completely agree, but I don't think Gill will be confident enough. I mean,
Hmm.
I hope he is. You have a
See,
target of more than 600.
but here's the thing, right? It's not only from a perspective of maybe England might get, it's very far fetched, let's be honest. But even from a perspective of how Ashwin spoke about the English batters getting a high when they hit a boundary. The moment the boundaries have been cut off, they have tried to do something different to manufacture a boundary, which will help create chances, which also eventually becomes a wicket taking option.
True.
So it's about building the pressure.
Yeah, that's true. I think Shrikant's also right. I mean, NKR will be someone to watch out for if
Hmm.
bowlers for whatever reason don't really bowl well. NKR ripping everyone new page will be a new everyone a new. Oh right.
Like Hardik did it.
Yeah. I mean, he did get swing in the first inning, so it will be interesting to see how NKR, if he does get overs, how does he go about it? I think, yeah, for the most part, yeah, the first half will be important because we do know. I don't have if issues with defensive tactics. I just hate defensive selection. Yeah, fair.
I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah. I think it'll just be interesting. The first half will be important because if Siraj and Akashdeep don't get a wicket in the first half or even the first session, then batting just gets really easy. And then getting wickets after will be difficult and you'd have to wait for the second new ball, which is a conversation in itself. But right, let's talk about quick wit and Brit. Those are few
That's
stats.
all right. So it's mostly Indian bowler stats. The first one, not a very promising stat, which is that neither Jadeja or Siraj have averaged less than 40 in fourth innings in England. And so that is something obviously that needs to be taken with a pinch of salt. But if stats are as they suggest, then India might have a slightly tough time today. Siraj, though, seems in good rhythm, so that's something to be happy about. And this one's something I spoke about yesterday, but I did not have the stat handy. So here's the stat on Akashdeep versus Duckett. It's been a single sided fixture, super dominant from Akashdeep. 3 innings that they faced against each other. He's got him out 3 times in 4 overs, giving away just 9 runs with a bowling average of 3. Insane figures, and he's a walking bunny to Akashdeep, basically. Now this is again Ben Stokes averaging 63 in the fourth innings. We know what he's capable of, but the others haven't really particularly done well. Brook, in fact, is this is only his second innings in the fourth innings. This is the
The
second
high
time.
the
Yeah,
highest run scorer for England in this squad is Root, who we have already dismissed.
yeah. And Pope too averages just 24. So if you look at it from historically any experience that English batters might have had in the fourth innings, it is only Stokes really who has done this in the past, and this is just too far fetched. If England get this, then just
Yeah.
hats off to them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we'll take the defeat. And but this one's an interesting stat, right? Akashdeep has never taken a wicket in Test cricket from the overs of 31 to 80. He's bowled 44 overs in this period, but he's got no wicket. So I don't know again if this is something to worry about, but it's just a stat that I mean it might matter today.
And I don't know how much 44 overs really is, but that
Yeah.
is a thing to think about. All right, technical tidbit. We'll talk about this a little bit because Mohammad Siraj is good. So I have a ball. Of course, Mohammad Siraj is good, but Mohammad Siraj is good with the wobble seam. And if you don't know what the wobble seam is basically when the seam before pitching oscillates between 11 and 1 o'clock. So it almost oscillates and pitches. And so the entire bit about the wobble seam is the bowler does not know where the ball is going to seam after pitching, which means move after pitching. So how will the batter know? So like that's the whole idea of the wobble seam, and that's why it's so difficult to play because regardless of how focused the batter is, he wouldn't know where the ball is pitching because that's the entire idea of the wobble seam. But there are two ways of going about bowling it. One is the normal kind. So if you want to, usually if a fast bowler would want to swing the ball, you would usually hold the seam like this and then swing it in or out, wrist position. And there are also different angles to play with if you want to swing the ball. But you would usually have your index finger and the middle finger close to each other. But if you want to bowl the wobble seam, you would usually open that up a little bit and then release the ball. So you would release the ball, hoping that the seam wobbles. But something a lot of fast bowlers, I think, including Siraj, also does really well is so his stock delivery is the outswinger. So he would hold the ball in an angle. So he would have his middle finger almost across the seam. Sorry, index finger across the seam and middle finger beside it. So he would use this wrist and bowl an outswinger. But to bowl the wobble seam, right? So he would have the same seam position. So to bowl the outswinger, he would put a lot of pressure on the index finger and release the ball, making sure that the seam comes right outside. And there's a beautiful seam position that takes the ball out. But for the wobble seam, however, he puts a lot more pressure on the middle finger and not the index, which is on the seam, but like the middle finger, which is beside the seam, making sure that when he releases the ball, there's a lot more pressure on the middle finger and then because of that there's a wobble on the seam and when it pitches the ball seams in or out rather than swings in or out. That's the best I could with explaining kind of different positions, but yeah, these are predominantly the two kinds of positions and pressure points that bowlers use to bowl the wobble seam. There you go, and let's address the chat and let's talk to the chat. NKR fans here happy. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't think anyone wants NKR to disappoint. NKR to cook and eat Brits wickets, hopefully. The only thing Rohit is gonna take is a sand for a lot of NKR. Sorry, there's a lot of Rohit slander, which is quite that's quite sad. He's not even playing in the squad anymore. Gill should go all out for those wickets, not think about the draw or the runs. Yeah, I don't think Gill will look for a draw unless the England team by lunch or by tea are 500. Yeah, by tea, yeah. Yeah. Mike gone. Of course, Mike is gone. Shrikant, I'm trolling. Yeah, Mike will work now.
It's done. It's fine.
No, so he was saying if England score 500
500
by
by
lunch, he'll
lunch.
stop making cricket
I'll stop making
content.
cricket content.
Yeah. Sanjay Manjrekar behavior. Yeah, Praatibh. Yeah, at this point, it's a thing. We stopped having echo problems, but
Because
because
the mic, you mute the mic.
yeah, I mean now also there's no echo as such, but
Yeah.
like yeah, we do mute the mic just in case, and then there is problems all the time. It's just one of those things. I think. I mean, when do you see Shubman get? Okay, fine. So someone asked this before. First
Mm,
of all, what is going to be England's approach to
yeah.
this total? And to be fair, the batting coach yesterday in the press conference said a draw would be a good result for England.
Gothic.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think England are not going to be mindless in how they approach the innings, especially now because they're 3 down overnight. They don't have too many batters coming in. Of course, they have batting till Vokes, but not enough batting to chase down 536. That's a lot. That's basically every batter having to come out and score a century if you only consider the six proper people who can bat. Not even six, five. And so I think England will probably see up till lunch or even till tea how it's going. They will play their normal way, but if they're losing wickets, then they'll probably have a slight change in style because they can't just come out swinging and hope that it connects, and because that's not going to get them anywhere also. Because how long can you keep swinging and hope that runs are made, especially when it's 500? It's too many runs. Like this is honestly from here, this is India's match to not win.
yeah,
Like
that's true.
India should be closing this out, irrespective of whether they have Bumrah or not.
Two interesting questions. So one, I'll take Joy because he's here right now. Hate when guys crib about the flat pitches. They're producing results and taking it test to 5 days, which is better. I think. Yeah, I think it's debatable about if it's better, but yeah, if these pitches are taking the result to the fifth day, I don't see the problem. I think, on the contrary, when you look at the test match between Australia and West Indies, which is very low scoring, seems like a good wicket for the bowlers. And if you see that here, it's not as if there are draws in this test series as of yet. If sure, the batters, it's a little batter friendly, but right. I mean, the fact that you India can win today says something. Says that fifth day a test match, you're not looking for a draw, just says something about the pitches and about the test series itself. So I think I have no complaints about the pitches.
Yeah,
I'm just surprised by how the pitches are
it
playing.
is. Yeah, I think the only, I mean, the reason this is standing out is because this is one of the flattest pitches we've seen in a long time across Test cricket.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. Right. And the other question was how should Jadeja approach this innings? Should he be economical or should he look to take wickets?
uh, both. So, because whenever Jadu's gotten wickets, he has invariably been economical, and that has a lot to do with the lines and lengths he's hitting.
True.
And by that, what I mean is Jaddu was known or has always been known for his accuracy. He's always been around that length where the batsman is confused whether to go forward or behind, or not behind the stumps, just go on the back foot and play it. And that's where Jaddu's strength lies. Also, his pace variations and everything matter a lot. So, Jaddu should just look to get wickets. And I think that's when he's also his best, at his best as a bowler, is when he's looking to get wickets, when he's hitting the right lines and lengths. Obviously, I think if he's bowling well enough and looking to get wickets, he will contain.
Yeah, that's true. Again, I missed that. Damn it. I missed that. It was a very interesting observation. But anyway, Siraj and Akashdeep should take wickets in the start. Oh, right. So, if I think so, if we don't, for whatever reason, get wickets with the new ball and the ball becomes old, I think the strategy would be right to plug in the boundaries to make sure there's no boundaries. Because someone said that I think India becomes demotivated after you do like with the new old ball when you don't get wickets and they become very defensive. This is absolutely true. I think that was a criticism we had from Shubman Gill from the first innings of how the field just looks like like bizarre. Like especially after the first half when you got 3 wickets and then Harry Brook and Jamie Smith were taking the attack forward. I felt like Gill had no idea what to do, and His captaincy was exposed a little bit, but again, it's the second test match, first innings, in fact. And so this will again test him. The only question is how long can we go about telling him that hey, it's only second or third? But now we can go because it's only a second test match.
Yeah.
But his captaincy will be tested today, and it will be interesting to see how he goes about it. Jaddu trying to be economical in this test series has the same issue as when he's trying to be economical in ODIs or T20s. It's harder and harder to be defensive when teams are attacking.
I
Interesting,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, just fight fire with fire. Be attacking, right?
ESPN Cricket Info is writing an article headline Test cricket is facing a midlife crisis. Yeah, I don't know why though.
Yeah, I have to read this article.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of recency bias in terms of because until this series, Test cricket was
Was
all time
fine.
high.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I think it's a very recency bias thing. I don't understand the problem of test matches going to 5 days. If every test match around the world was going to the fifth day, I'd understand the problem. I think
I mean, even then, why is it a problem if it's
yeah,
going to day 5 and producing a result?
yeah,
That's great. Like all the talk about reducing test matches to make them all 4 day, and right after that, we're seeing a lot of 5 day test matches, just means that test cricket still probably needs the 5 days.
yeah, that's true. Hey Preeti sub, this is the first time I'm turning into a live as in streaming into the live. Hey, appreciate that. Always appreciate new people coming in. Since strike rates have increased and 100 plus is being scored every session, do you think economies of 3 to 5 should be normalized as batters are looking to score? Well, normalized in this test match? Again, I don't think
Maybe
so. Maybe, yeah.
3 to 5 is a huge
Yeah.
range. Like 3 is good, 4 is decent,
5 is
5 is bad.
debatable, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, sure, your arguments could be that England plays this way, baseball, all of that, but even if you look at baseball and even if you look at bowlers who have done well, you will see their economies not being that high.
Yeah.
So
Fast and Furious, of course, you can ask a question. Sriram, raining heavily now, is it? Oh, damn. Let's look at cricket info. Let's open the app. Let's look at what the forecast says. I mean, it was supposed to rain. Harry Brook was taunting Shubman Gill with that. Supposed to rain, you should take. All right. Getting very gloomy, squares, covers being rolled out,
oopsie.
and with bad news, it's raining. Tipping down
Hey Sudarshan,
as a
what's up?
wish.
Nice to have you on
I don't
chat.
even think these are mega roads either. People's brains are wrapped by all the rank turners and green mambas we've seen.
Exactly,
Yeah, I agree.
exactly. If people want to see roads, they should see that Rawalpindi wicket. My God, that was something else.
I live 10 minutes from the ground. Not a good news for the fans. At least 1 hour of rain and then some cleanup job.
Damn.
So it is raining quite a bit.
Looks like we are going to be missing good first half of the first session.
Yeah. Nobody's talking about Sundar. We
I
talked
spoke
about.
about Sundar. I of course spoke less about him because I don't know. It just doesn't feel like his bowling does not convince much. I would just hope he can contain. If he gets wickets, great. He did ball well in the first innings. I will say that in that first spell, he did look more potent than Jaddu, no doubt about it. But I think because Jaddu's the experienced man, because he's batted well, we would hope for that confidence to translate into his bowling as well.
True.
Make some use of the rough, use the negative line, possibly try and exploit some batters.
That is true. You know, something very interesting is can. Wait. Praneeth Verma says, can Siraj produce reverse swing after the ball gets older? We haven't seen much of reverse swing, which is quite interesting.
Saw a little bit in this
Yeah.
test. I forgot if it was England's innings or
I think it
India's
was in
innings.
India's innings.
India's
In
innings.
the notes, you said Siraj was.
Siraj, yeah. So then it's probably Siraj who got a little bit
Yeah.
of reverse swing in the first inning.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, but there hasn't been much talk. But
Yeah.
I also think that's because every time the ball gets old, it gets changed. So I think the rough and shiny side, there isn't much difference for a reverse swing to happen. And
It's two things actually. So I think in the first innings, India had a ball change around the 65th over or 64th over. And either it started reverse swinging after the ball change or it was reverse swinging before the ball change. So definitely what you're saying is correct. Like the ball does matter. It makes a difference.
Aksar would have probably done a better job than Washington Sundar. Then you're playing two left arm spinners in the same squad. The ball isn't old yet. So how reverse swing? No, Nanda
No,
Kishore
no,
is
no.
talking about like
Later
after,
in the day,
later on when the ball gets old. It's
40,
raining in
50.
Edgbaston, anonymous. Yes, it is raining in Edgbaston. In fact, it's raining quite a bit. Utkarsh, Prasid should take some time off and spend time with Ishant. He has potential, but you can bank on just potential. You can't, right? 1 year with Ishant might just, the thing is, I feel like we've done this too. And I feel like just because Prasid and Ishant are tall, fast bowlers and they don't know if they do the same thing, I think we've categorized them as the same bowler.
Similar, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked about this in the last couple of days. If you take Prasidh Krishna in a corner, he would rather bowl full
Yeah.
because we saw him do that yesterday. And yes, so if you take Prasidh Krishna's age and then Ishant Sharma's age, and if you told Ishant Sharma to do what Prasidh Krishna did yesterday, I feel like Ishant Sharma would have struggled with
Struggle.
that
Yeah,
pre
yeah.
2016.
100%.
And Ishant Sharma is good at the short ball stuff, short of good length. Like that was his natural length, as people call it. And I think, yeah, and I think people categorize them together, but I don't feel like,
Yeah, like, so very interesting point. Something that we'd covered, I want to say yesterday or day before, about Akashdeep also hitting the seam, and hitting the seam hard. I feel like the problem with Prasidh is not even as much as the lens as is him almost feeling like he floats the ball in,
yeah,
right? Because even at the full length, sometimes it feels like he's not really putting in much effort.
yeah,
Like he's just coming and releasing the ball for the sake of releasing it.
true.
And I feel like when he puts in that effort to possibly get more backspin or possibly try and hit the pitch harder, but at different lengths, that is when Prasidh has shown a little bit of spice. Because we have
Yeah,
seen spells where he does look a lot more fiery.
yeah.
And like there's a clear difference when he's fiery versus when he's just all over the place.
I mean, yesterday he got the ball to swing, he got the ball to seam in and out. So he has the capabilities, like you said,
Yeah.
he has the potential to do it. I think we need that left arm variation. Sridhar, I think, I mean, for Prasidh, Bumrah will easily come back. I don't think
I
there's a
feel like
question.
the test where Bumrah isn't,
Yeah.
we might see an Arshdeep debut if a lot might depend on this. He can turn up good today. He gets another lifeline.
Shrikant says, boys, hot take. When can we see fully bearded Praatibh?
Possibly never. Sorry to disappoint.
Could Jadeja have batted with a bit more intent? I think Jadeja batted the way he would have.
And what the team management also want.
Yeah, and I think he's very reserved in that sense. He's very reserved in the test format. He's talked about this, how he
Yeah.
wants to bat slow, take his time. And even in the T20 format, even in this IPL, in fact, you didn't consistently see him score at a big strike rate. I think, I don't want to say this. I don't want to say this, but I think his diminishing returns in terms of batting at a high strike rate has diminished.
Yeah, basically, he's just more vulnerable to getting out when he tries to
But
force the cause.
yeah,
Because, and example and case in point is that yesterday, until T, he was batting, he was taking his time playing normally. But after T, there was a clear messaging to go for it. And which is when we also saw him kind of take the attack. So he's playing to the team's requirements.
It's a very interesting point. I was at Edgbaston Stadium yesterday. The people were going mad when lead reached 540 odd and were asking for declaration. It was intense and it looked like Gambhir was pointing the clock to Gill. I think if it was Gill's decision to take time to declare, I think he was right. I mean, rain or not today, the whole I'll defend Gill here. In the first test match, there was rain forecast almost every single day of the test match, and surprisingly, almost every day had no rain. So if you were to listen to the weather forecast, I don't think Gill would have any trust. But even without the weather forecast, it was simply about taking England out of the game, and you had to do that, especially because of how much they love fourth innings chases, especially because of how the first test match unfolded. And so I think this is what we would have done to take England out of the game and take. I mean, we would have talked. We not done, but we talked
And
about.
it's not just about the runs. Like, I think people are looking at this not
Oh
from the
yeah,
perspective of time,
yeah,
because the whole point of taking that little bit of extra time was so that you can eliminate the possibility of the English just somehow getting this result. It's incredibly unlikely that this is ever going to be chased in Test cricket. Leave alone like today or like 20 years in the future. I don't think something like this can happen. But yeah, you just don't want to take that chance, especially when you're 1-0 down. There's pressure as a captain, especially as India's captains.
yeah. That's true. Do you think Arshdeep will be given a chance? We'll find out once.
Maybe.
Depends on the match where Bumrah is not there now. It's Test. You can bat as slowly as you want. Shrikant, yeah, that's true. More than half of Gill's centuries were against England. He has genuine issues with the English, like Virat and Sachin fancies Australia. Gill is loving the English. I mean, even Jaiswal, he
Oh
had
yeah,
a double
Jaiswal
hundred
also.
against England.
Yeah.
If it was ODIs or T20s, it would have made sense. Oh, I think this is a conversation on batting slow,
Lads,
batting fast.
drop some likes. 84 of you here, and we have 24 likes. Can we get that number up to 40 likes or 50 likes?
Damn.
I know you can do it.
Nagar Reddy is a sadist. and I'm here for it. I hope we draw today so that the Indian media can have an all time meltdown. That'll be an amazing watch, a spectacle, I must say. I think, Yeah, for that case, yeah, I would agree with you. If it's a draw to see the Indian media meltdown, I will be here for that. If anything, we will
Even
also have a meltdown.
I think
I mean, if it rains, it rains. Then it's fine. Like it's okay. I think the whole idea of this playing 11 was to, in fact, get a draw. I don't think the
they were,
Indian team thought before this test match they were going to win with this playing 11.
yeah,
I'll be very honest. Preeti, we talked about Arshdeep Singh.
he might get a chance only when Jasprit Bumrah's out.
Start delayed. Also, no articles talking about bat and ball balance. Very curious. I think I honestly think right. So the batters may have an edge in this test match because of the amount of runs they're scoring,
Yeah,
and the only reason we go to the fifth day is because of baseball. I don't think if any other two teams were playing with the run rate that with the run rate they've been playing with, I don't think this test match would have gone on fifth day with a result. And I will say that. But I mean, in this test match we are, and so I think you're playing the team, you're playing the conditions and all of that. So I think that's okay. That is an interesting thing to think about. I just thought of it. If it wasn't baseball, if England want to score those 400 runs in less than 90 overs, I don't think we would have gone to fifth day with the result.
yeah,
But
100%.
here we are. Especially the way we are batting right now. Bumrah could replace NKR and Arshdeep could replace Prasid. God damn. I mean, five bowlers. Yeah, fair.
If India has the guts to do it, I think I'll be interested to see if the mindset changes if India win this. Like
Yeah.
then do they go with a bold squad selection?
Yeah, because we've talked about this. I don't think the Indian management thought we were going to win this test match with this playing 11. We'll take few more questions. Of course, the start is delayed, but he got. Why was NKR chirping at Duckett after Duckett's dismissal yesterday? Doesn't he know he'll be wearing a high whiz jacket next game and carrying? Also, he's been so underwhelming. I think that's fine. Talking to players is.
No, I think, and again, like I think a lot of people have just looked at the scorecards and made their decisions about NKR in this game. In the first innings, he was unlucky. In the second innings, he had to
In the
come
first
out.
innings, he was an unlucky.
Oh, sorry, not unlucky. He just got out.
Inexperience, yeah.
Yeah. In the second innings, he just had to come out and hit. Unfortunately, got and with the ball, whatever limited spells that he balled, he looked the part. He got the ball to move a bit. He got the edge. He created chances. He contained runs. So uh, I don't know. Like in my assessment, I think he's done whatever best he could have. He could have done better with the bat, but
True.
that's fine. This is his first game in England.
If we lose overs, India's already difficult job gets tougher. But wait, 7 wickets on day 5 is a difficult job. That is all right. Uh, or Test cricket's midlife crisis.
70-30 in India's favor. Ooh, yeah, I would even say 80-20.
Yeah,
But
probably.
Karun Nair and NKR didn't live up to the expectations. Yeah, that's Karun definitely has
Oh.
some things to fix. We actually just put a technical bit on Karun out. We also spoke about it in the live yesterday. Check it out if you haven't already.
All right. So the midlife crisis article is I've skimmed through it. I haven't read it, but it's mostly about the flat, long-lasting pitches and quickly softening Duke's ball that are making the contest totally one-sided. Which is what Siddharth uh,
That would make
is
more
talking.
sense.
Yeah, he's talking about this in specific, like this test series in specific, and how England's have flat pitches is what I'm assuming. Again, I've just skimmed through it. Yeah, and the Duke's ball getting so much softer so early. Like, if you can't last a Duke's ball for more than 60 overs, then you're hardly ever going to see reverse swing again,
True.
which is a problem. England's approach yesterday in the second innings absolutely baffled me. They played a ego cricket just to show we can chase no matter what score you put. The first 2 wickets indicated the same. Yeah, I think. Go
But
on.
that's how the first wickets always bat, anyways, right? So okay, I do get that England might have been in their heads that they still wanted to come out and play the same way. But I don't think those two batters are very confident in their defense as is.
Yeah.
Their best form of defense is attack.
Attack, yeah. Especially Duckett. You don't
Yeah.
see him leave the ball. I mean, I think yesterday's first over was okay. I don't know if it was the first maiden over in a very long time, but
Yeah, like the very first ball that Zach Roy faced, it was outside off stump where he would have always thrown his hands at it,
yeah,
but he left that ball.
yeah.
That should have that showed the mentality.
If India gets just 50 overs today, do you think they'll get the job done? The conditions might be overcast, so that might help. Yeah, it'll be
Mm,
interesting. I don't. If the ball's swinging and all of that, I think India's on it. And if India don't get wickets, then it's just disappointing.
yeah.
I don't know how many overs India needs to get those 7 wickets. But on
Then
day 5, when England are looking to draw the game. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think England will look to win the game, but I don't think England will simply start defending.
yeah, that's not going
Yeah,
to work for them.
they'll still play their shots, which is also why we might still get wickets. Doesn't even.
Mm. Yeah, the thing with and we're taking for
Oh
granted that
wow.
what happened?
Oh, damn. Really heavy. Wouldn't be surprised if this wipes out the first session.
Oh damn.
Says roller. Not looking good unless maybe you're an England fan, Paul. Or is complaining quite a bit.
Well, at least as Indian fans, this is sad actually. I would have wanted India. Okay, let's see. Time will tell.
Because my laptop isn't. I'm gonna spam Shrikant. You're the only sane one of the sane ones on this chat. You've been here for a while. If you guys have a fallout, what happens to the channel? Oh wow.
Whoa, out of the blue, but a lot of people have
I
asked
didn't
us
even
that.
read. I didn't even know. Oh wow. We've known each other since 2006. So if you have a fallout, we'll either try talking it out, or if not, I'll give him this. Okay. Not that it's my channel, but I'll
I mean,
let
it is
yeah I'll
50-50.
let go of the channel because
Oh,
it's
damn. He's playing the bigger man.
Karun definitely has to be dropped and give Sudarshan a chance. Even in such flat pitches, he's scoring 25-30. We'll talk about this at 2:30 p.m. next time around on the day 1 of the third test match. 60 overs it seems, right? Karun definitely has to. Oh, right. I have a perfect strategy. If we get the match, get 7 wickets. Oh, Dhruv, you're my man. This is what I think. I
Bro,
think
yeah, this is how we used to play gully cricket.
Star Sports meltdown. If it's a draw, we will be there. Yeah, see, for that I will be there. For that I will 100% tune in just to see the meltdown. Bumrah, Siraj, Arshdeep, Akashdeep, Jadeja, and Washington Sundar. It looks dangerous bowling squad even for baseball. But then we have a long tail. Yeah, that's why you'll never play Kuldeep Yadav then. But sad.
I mean, even here, this person said Jadeja and Washi of Kuldeep, which would have been more dangerous.
Yeah, but then like you have a longer tail.
True.
England are lucky they got away in the first test due to plenty of drop catches and inexperienced captaincy from Gill. They got away. Stokes should have realized. I mean, that's with every match. Like every match, you can just pinpoint and say that right, the
Yeah.
opposition got away, and that's why they won, or like some team got away. But England won. And they were a better team. They chased it down. Even England players dropped few catches. We just couldn't cash it in. So, boys, no fallout, please. Nobody talking about Jurel at all. What did he do wrong? We've talked about Jurel quite a
Nothing.
bit.
Yeah. We've raved about Jurel a lot. Before the start of the series, all the pre's that we've done, wanted him in the 11. We
True.
think he's a perfect for 3 even, but
Yeah.
if not, then number 6. He looks solid, not put a foot wrong. In every tour match, in every tour innings almost, he's got a 50s. And yeah, like the only argument is maybe they just look at him as a wicket keeper and so he's just not going to get a chance. But I don't think India should sit on talent.
But sad. Some positive news. The rain is not as heavy anymore, but it's still persistent. But yeah. Hey, do you guys have anyone else other than you two on the team? We have editors. We have an intern who helps us with women's cricket. If you don't know who she is, go watch the woman episode, then go to the credits page, you'll find she helps us quite a bit. Alright, it's 2:20, it's 3:26. Of course, the match is not going to start anytime soon, but we have a closing time, and this is it, says the producer in our ear, which is us. Just because a lot of you guys asked if there's anyone else on our team. Alright. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It'll be very interesting to see how the day plays out. It won't be surprising if it's a draw because of rain, but it won't be
Yeah.
surprising if India wins too. What
True.
will be surprising if England miraculous.
Not happening.
So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. All that good stuff. We do have videos coming out every Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. Like always, follow us on Instagram. And if you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, do that too. We update monthly.
Yeah, monthly, once every 45 days. And that's actually a good way for you to kind of get a look into what happens behind the scenes, or even if you're interested in events like the one we just had,
True.
or potential ideas that we want to kind of test out with you guys. So, yeah, a lot of that happening.
Hey Sridhar, I appreciate that a lot. That's very, very kind of you. Your channel is exactly a place I've been looking for since a long time where I could discuss about this, all things about Test cricket, pure joy. Always looking forward to your videos and analysis. Thank you guys so much
You.
for that. The support you guys bring us always means a lot to us. We never take it for granted. So, watching. See you next time. Peace. See you tonight at 11:30 p.m. That is. Peace.